Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who's tuning in. I hope that you're all doing well and staying safe. On behalf of SP University of Untitled Student Chapter, I'd like to welcome you to the third session of TECHLOG training. My name is Zakaria Mahadi. I am Master Degree Petroleum Engineering student at Porosity University, and I will be your moderator for today's session. So our topic today will be about petrophysical evaluation, fluid typing, and discrimination within TECHLOG software. I hope you will enjoy it. I'd like also to remind you to kindly drop your question in the chat box down below, and please keep it professional and ethical all the time. So without any further ado, please welcome with me Mr. Nweze Innocent Chukwudi. Mr. Nweze Innocent Chukwudi is a technically motivated, adaptable, and responsible graduate engineering from Porosity University with interest in reservoir characterization and geomechanics. He has a methodical approach to work and a strong drive to see things to completion. In his current job, he has been involved in the full completion of field development plan as regarding bidding for an oil and gas field. Mr. Nweze, we're very delighted to have you among us today, and the mic is definitely yours.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir, we can hear you. But if you can make the sound more better, the participant will be grateful. You can raise your voice more.
Okay, should I increase my voice? Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes. Now it's more clear. Yes.
Okay.
It's good. Go ahead.
You're welcome. How was your day? Okay, we'll be going straight to what we have for today. And let me bring up okay. Okay, yesterday we did some little facts on with the software, and today we'd like to continue with that. But I would like to take us through the importation again and see how far we can go with the rest of our training today. So in order for me to, as a way of recalling what we did yesterday, on Wednesday, I will just take us through the importation of another well data so that we can see how reservoir correlation can be carried out in TECHLOG. Now, I will go over to my import, and here is my import buffer. I'll click on the icon there. Then I'm going to locate my data for this training. TECHLOG data Petrophysical. I'm going to bring in my well log. I'm going to bring in the well log for well 2, or I should bring in that for well 1. I'll click on open, and here's the well log. Here's the well log. All I'll do is to select it and push it in. Now appearing here. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to bring in my deviation file. And then for me to do that, I will remove this well log here because it's already pushed into this my project browser. So I'm going to delete this from the import buffer and bring in my deviation data for TECHLOG for L1. That's it. Okay, this is my deviation data. Now the name, all these names should be changed. This is MD. Okay, you can see them here. Okay, so thank you. I think I will increase my voice. Okay, so this, please, can everyone hear me clearly? Please just hit up the chat box now to tell me if you can hear me clearly.
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Just the sound is kind of interrupted.
Oh, sorry for that.
But now we can hear you well.
Okay. So the unit of my measured depth is my feet, lowercase. My azimuth is my degree, lowercase, and my inclination is my degree, lowercase. Now, if I should come over to my unit, to this other data import wizard, my data set name, as I told us yesterday, I will name it survey data. Survey data. The data set type is trajectory. Now I'm importing from line 2. I'm importing from line 2. And my variable name is in line 1. And my unit is in line 0. After I've done all this, I'll click load to import buffer. Yeah, I'm having one in the reference is not defined. Okay. Close this up. You reference it to your MD and click load to import buffer. It's here now. So I'm going to push it in. That's what was showing on my per 01. But once I push this in, you see that you have a survey data there. I see this. So this is my survey data for well 1. We close this up and we continue. So what we are going to do next now is to view this well logs on our log view. We click at our log view. We start afresh. I know I'm bringing this up. That's to enable those that missed the class to catch up. This is my GRO log. I push it in. But take note, this is for my well 4. Now, I'm going to push in my resistivity. And you all know why I'm pushing in my resistivity after my GRO, because resistivity tells this formation is hydrocarbon bearing or which is water bearing. Now the next log I'm going to push in is my density log, followed by my neutron porosity log on top of my density log. Now if I've done this, I'm still going to bring in my log data for my pair 1 or my well 1. But here I see that the resistivity is graded out, and this can be caused either as a result of my resistivity not being assigned to a family or not being assigned to a unit. So from here, I'm seeing that my resistivity is not assigned to a family because there's a unit here. So what I'm going to do is to assign my resistivity to a family. So I'm going to select my resistivity. I'll right click on it. I'll go to assign to family. There's an arrow pointing this side, having so many drop down. Now I'm going to see resistivity at the bottom. Now rescue, I'm going to see deep rescue. I will click on deep rescue. Then my rescue log is now active. I'm no longer graded out. What I'm going to do next is to drag my GRO log. Now it's showing me a measured depth reference could not be defined for the dataset cell 01. Check the dataset. Okay. Now since I've done the offset data for this well, it's not going to match because I've estimated the total vertical depth of this well in our past class or training. I did that in the last section. So merging MD and TVT might not, or we pop out an error sign. Like if I'm checking the error, you see a measured depth reference could not be found for the data set L1. The reference is talking about converting from your MD to your TVD. But that notwithstanding, I'm going to bring in another well data. I think this is also having issue. This well survey data is having issue. So I'm going to bring in another survey data so that we can move on. Import. I think I should work with O3. No, I should bring in the well log first. Okay. Okay, I think I should push the OK. Then I'll bring in the survey data. Okay, this is it. I'll label this as feet. This as degree. This as degree also. And this will be my survey data. This trajectory. I'm importing from line 1. My variable is line 0. And this is just up. I'll click local import buffer. I'll select and I'll push it in. So let me check. Okay, they're ready. I'm going to also assign my resistivity to a family. Assign to a family. Deep resistivity. Okay. When we've done that, okay, what I'm going to do, convert this to, yes, I'll come to my data and coordinates. I'm going to carry out a 3D computation. You push in your measured depth, your whole deviation, and your whole azimuth, and click on create. What you now do, you bring in your survey data for the where you want to carry out the 3D computation. You can carry out the computation there. Our elevation is 78.94. That is the calibration elevation. So all we just do is to apply. Once we've done that, you see that you have your TLWL part where you have your 3D SS and the rest of it. So if you've done this, you close this up from this place and try pushing in the GRO log. Okay. Okay, there is an error message. Now we'll rectify that because of the training. How you can condition this. Now this is the interface of our log data. Leaving the interface as this might be difficult for us to interpret. Leaving the interface as this might be difficult to carry out our interpretation. So what we normally do is to condition this interface so as for us to get a better view of our log, of our well log at an instant. So the way you can do that is to go to your properties window or your properties tab and increase the scale to 1 is to, let's say, 1000 or 1002. Now I'm still having something of this nature. It's still showing large. I will go back and also increase the scale to 1 is to, let me say, 2000. Okay. So with this now, I can actually compress my well log. Just select the track line, and you compress it. Select the track line and you compress it. So we'll do that for our depth track. Now this is it. But our depth track, the font of our depth track is too much. So we also need to as it's selected now, we go to our property, we go to appearance, we see the grid font, we reduce it to 6. It changes this font, it reduces it. And we do that for our header font, which is our header font to 6. Now, that is that. I remember in the last class, someone was asking if he wants to make changes to the scale, either our GRU scale or our resistivity scale or our neutron porosity or density scale. Because most times, most of the units this log do come in might actually require change of scale, especially for our neutron porosity log. Most of the servicing company or the logging company actually present them based on their own standards. Like we have two standards of measuring our neutron porosity. Using their scale, we have a scale of 0 is to 60 and minus 0.15 to 0.1 and 0.45. So that is the two scales that our neutron porosity log can actually come in. Now, in order for you to effect that or make those changes in your TECHLOG, all you just need to do is to go to the log. You go to the log here. Once you select the log, like our GRO log, once you select the log header, I've selected my GRO log header. I will come to my properties. Under my properties, I'm going to see the horizontal axis. Type lower limit at 0, upper limit at 150. If you want to make changes to this, you just click on this drop down and insert them as user. With user, you can actually make changes to this. Here, I can still decide to put it as 0 and 150. But leaving it as user, we actually give you the best shading pattern. We give you the best shading pattern. And so now that is one thing for that. Also, I think I'll leave it in family. I should leave it in family. Now, same thing you can do for your density plot. I would like to effect a change here on my density plot. So I'll select my density plot, come over to this place, put it at teaser, and effect this change as 1.85 to 2.85. 1.85 to 2.85. Okay. Now, if I've done this, all I need to do now is to actually work on my isolation. Since you've seen this, is to carry out the coloration and immediately work. Okay, I have other one of this page showing. I think I should also condition this. So I'll do same thing. I'll change the view, change the grid font to 6, and also change the header font to 6. Okay. Now I'm having two wells. I'm having two wells on my log view. I'm trying to know which well is the second well, if it's the first or this is the okay. Now let me make an adjustment to this. I'll come to property. Okay, this is just the header. Now what we're going to do next is try to bring in our coloration for our resistivity log and also our neutron density cross plot. So my resistivity, all I'll just do is to select it, select my resistivity. So I selected, I'll right click on it, and I'm going to see coffee from coffee to the lower limit. I'll go to palette and I'm going to search for our resistivity, which is our resistivity. Here our resistivity, I'll click on OK. And I have my resistivity log shaded. Now, how will I identify the area that is hydrocarbon bearing, like I told us from the previous class? Is wherever I'm seeing a spike in resistivity. A spike in resistivity tells me that that zone is an hydrocarbon bearing zone, because only oil can be more resistive in formation. Water is more conductive than oil. So at this point, we see that we're just having water. Okay, up to this point where we are having hydrocarbon. I think this spike in resistivity, it tells us our hydrocarbon, tells us about our hydrocarbon bearing. So we're going to talk about this later in Petrophysical evaluation. So what we're going to do next is to compute our neutron and density log. So doing that, you select your density, hold your shift, and select the neutron. If you've done that, you right click and you see insert area field between the variables. You click on it and here you go. Areas field has been inserted within these variables. So this is just it. Now another important thing I would like us to discuss is how we can carry out isolation. Sorry, I just have one active well for now that I'm working with, which is my PL04. And this PL04 is what we'll be using for our statistical evaluation. But I'll just show us how we can carry out our zonation using our TECHLOG. Now, this zonation is such that we might actually carry out our zonation for all our sands, for all our reservoir sands. Carrying out zonation for all our reservoir sands most times might be so hectic that one might not be interested in. But actually carrying out your reservoir correlation for your area of interest, I mean your hydrocarbon bearing sand, like this is a hydrocarbon bearing sand, this is hydrocarbon bearing sand, this sand is hydrocarbon bearing, this is hydrocarbon bearing, this is hydrocarbon bearing, but this particular sand is not hydrocarbon bearing. Reason being that at this point, we are having a low resistivity, giving us or indicating the presence of water in this sanding formation. I don't know if you understand that. So in order for you, what zonation actually helps us to do in TECHLOG is it reduces the amount of time we spend carrying out a reservoir characterization for the full well or for the full reservoir. But zonation actually gives us an area where we can focus as we carry out a reservoir or petrophysical evaluation. That's why in this study, we might just be concerned with about 2 or 3 hydrocarbon bearing sands. Most times in your job specification, you might be asked to carry out your characterization for all the reservoir sands, whether it is water bearing or it's hydrocarbon bearing. That is for your own job description. Now, most times your company might actually ask you to carry out your statistical evaluation just for your hydrocarbon bearing zone. Now, you should be able to differentiate between your hydrocarbon bearing zone, your non-hydrocarbon bearing zone. In your hydrocarbon bearing zone, you have the phase zone. So most times your ability to differentiate between these zones helps you in your reservoir characterization. And you are going to see that as we proceed. Now, I'm going to carry out my zonation in this well, and you join me as I select those zones that are of interest to us. Like I'm seeing, this is the zone of interest to me. What I'll just do, I'll come to this my toolbar here. I'm going to see my quick zone creation. This is what we'll be using, quick zone creation. As you advance in this training, as you decide to take it further, then you get to understand how you can go on your advanced zone creation. That will not be for this training. Maybe in our subsequent training, whenever we meet again, I will show you how to go about your advanced zone creation. But for now, we'll be using our quick zone creation. So I'll select these two here, and I'll come here. This is my stand of interest. This is also my stand of interest. But this stand is ending here. So what I will do next is I've selected this stand of interest. I will come down Okay, this is another sound of interest to me. This is another sound of interest to me. And this sound of interest to me ended at this portion. Now take note, I'm having my hydrocarbon here. I have a shell where I have water. I'm having my hydrocarbon here. I have a shell where I have water. I'm having my hydrocarbon here. I'm having a shell where I'm having water. So you will see that where I'm having this food sand, here I'm having water. So here you can differentiate between your reservoir and your pay zone. So this zone is a pay zone because it's containing hydrocarbon. This zone is a pay zone. This zone is a pay zone. This zone is a pay zone. Most times we create subzones in our reservoir. Those subzones helps in giving our reservoir pay zone. If you've done that, now also this is a reservoir sand, and this reservoir sand and in this region. But the area carrying hydrocarbon is just from this place to this place, which we can see. So we can't neglect that. Now, I choose to go up. I think I'm not seeing any other zone that is hydrocarbon bearing. The rest is just water bearing. So we might not be working with that. So all I will just do now is to come on top of this zone I've selected. I'll right click on it and I'll see save zone. I'll click on the save zone and I'm going to name this my reservoir sand. And I'll click on OK. Now you've seen what I've successfully done. If you've done this, what you just need to do is to go and deselect this zone creation tool. If you do not do that, what you'll be doing is wherever you click on your log, you tend to be adding zone there. So for you not to do that, what you just do is to quickly come here and go to object selection for you to deactivate this tool. So you now come here. Let's close this up a little. Now I'm having different zones. This is my zone 1. This is for my reservoir sand 1. This is my zone 2. It's no hydrocarbon there. My zone 3. I'm having hydrocarbon here in my zone 3. I know my zone 4 is not hydrocarbon bearing zone. And my zone 5 is my hydrocarbon bearing zone. So out of these 5 zones, I'm having zone 5, zone 3, and zone 1 as my hydrocarbon bearing zone. So you should have that in mind. This is how we go about ozonation. Now, if you have so many other wells, the ability to look at your GRO log, look at the motif of the curve, look at the motif of the signature or the trend of the curve. From there, if you have an understanding of the positional environment or an environment of the position, you'll be able to tell which sand is this from other wells. Like those of us that did geology in school, we know a different law of stratigraphy where we have a Taylor's law, where we talk about our law of lateral continuity, our law of horizontal position, and the rest of them. So with those laws, or with the help of those laws, we can tell reservoir sand correlate with these other reservoir sand found in this other well. You know they're all found in a particular field. So if in a field where I'm seeing a particular sand signature, at least my extended wells should be able to penetrate through that same sand signature. So as for me to say this particular sand in this well is the same sand in this other well. Now, the same way we correlated or did a zone creation for this particular well, that is the same pattern if you follow for that other well. All you just do is to save it to that particular zonation file you've actually created. And you can see that zonation file when you come to your zonation. Click on your zonation, click on this drop down here, you see a reservoir tank. So these are the 5 zones we created. But our hydrocarbon bearing zone is our zone 1, our zone 3, and our zone 5. So I see as zone 1, as zone 3, and as zone 5. These are our hydrocarbon bearing zones that are of interest to us. So after you've done this, the next thing you have to do is to quickly go into your petrophysical evaluation, which we are going to run through the night, so that by our next class, we are going to do geometrics, and I'll show you how to export the data, and that will be the end of our training. I hope it's an interesting one. And reservoir characterization did not actually end at this. You can decide to push it further. You can decide to practice on your own, get some tutorial courses online, and you get to go further on the reservoir characterization as it concerns using TECHLOG. Now going to our petrophysical evaluation, the first thing we'll be doing is our estimation of our volume of shale. Now you click on it. Now estimating volume of shale, like I showed us from our slide from the first class, you can estimate your volume of shale using your gamma ray log. You can also estimate your volume of shale using your neutron density log. There are different correlations to that. Now, but for this training, we'll just be estimating our volume of shale. You can see that there are other logs that we can actually use to estimate. We can also use our resistivity log to estimate our volume of shale. Now, what you're seeing here, where you have your combined method, is this. If I should click on this combined method, it will tell me to impute all the parameters which I want to use to estimate my volume of shale. But if I go to individual method, I will estimate my volume of shale individually. Now, if I want to do an averaging of this individual method, then I will now come to final, which will do an average of all these individual methods. But once I click on combine, I'm actually doing the individual and the final together. So that's just the difference. So here I'm going to click on combine, and it's going to ask me which of the well logs do I want to use for my shale volume estimation. Here I'll be using my gamma ray, I'll be using my neutron, and I'll be using my bulk density. Let's just see as it goes. I'll be using my density. I'll be using my density. I'll push it in. I'll be using my gamma ray, which is my GRO. And I'll be using my neutron porosity, which is my NPHI. Neutron porosity. And I'll click on create. Okay, it will take us to this interface. Now, what I will now do is to bring in the well that is having that data. To bring in the well that is having that data. Take note, we are just carrying out this estimation for PEL4. So I'll bring in my well log for PEL4. This PEL4 data. I will drag and I will drop it here. You see where you have your, please drop your data set here. I'll drop my data set here. I now say that I'm having my gamma ray, I'm having my NPHI, and I'm having my density. Now that is it. Now, if you want to, that is my input. Now, coming to zonation, where you see all, is telling you that you want to estimate your gamma, your shale volume for your whole well. But if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to do that, all you just do is where you have a resolution here, there's a pushing button where you see insert zones transformation block window. If I push in this, so I'm going to come to my zonation dock window and push in my zone. Okay, I see the three zones that are of importance to me: my zone 1, my zone 3, and my zone 5. Those are the zones that are my hydrocarbon bearing zones. So I've pushed them in here. So whatever calculation or estimation I'm carrying out will just be directed to these three zones. So they will all be directed to the three zones. And it will actually limit the number of times it will take my system to run. Most of us, our system might not have a higher processor to actually do the estimation for the full well. It might actually crash the program or so. In order for you not to crash your program, you select the area of interest for you, and you do the estimation in that particular zone. Now, after this, we have method of selection. We are using a gamma ray, we are using a neutron density. And so now we come to our GRO. Now, what we are trying to estimate using our GRO log is gamma ray index. And from the formula that was shown on the slide, we know that our gamma ray index is equal to our gamma ray log minus our gamma ray minimum all over our gamma ray maximum minus our gamma ray minimum. So that's why you are seeing your gamma ray matrix. This is your gamma ray minimum, and this is your gamma ray maximum. Now, in the United data, we have different correlations that we use to estimate our shale volume aside our normal gamma ray index. Gamma ray index is also an estimate of our shale volume, but it's not an exact estimate of our shale volume. We have different correlations, Larinoff-Wood correlation or Larinoff tertiary rock correlation. We have a clever correlation. We have a curved correlation. We have a linear correlation, and I think we also have a steeper correlation in estimating our shale volume. So depending on the one that is best fit for your region or for your field, wherever you are, that is the one you use in estimating. But here in other data, we normally use a Larinoff older rock. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to see Larinoff older rock, Larinoff older rock, and Larinoff older rock. So it's all well selected. Now neutron density is not having any correlation. Now our final is asking which method do we want to use to estimate our final. I'm going to insert use my arithmetic mean. My arithmetic mean to estimate it. Don't go for the minimum. Arithmetic mean. Double click on the drop down. It will take you there. So if you've done all this, now for you to run your estimation or your calculation, where you are seeing this play button, if you just play, it will just display the well logs for you, but it not actually carry out the main calculations and so. So what we do, we save and display. If you click on save and display and click on play, it will save the result of what you just estimated and also display the log that was estimated for you to see. Now, if I click on play, now, are you seeing this? Now, this is my visual estimated. This is my visual estimated. So now if I come to my project browser, I see visual from my gamma ray, visual on clamps, visual neutron density, and visual neutron density on clamp. So what I'll just do, I'll delete the unclamped. The unclamped are those ones that were not estimated. So I'll delete them. And that is that for your visual estimation. You've done that for visual. Now the next thing we're going to do is porosity and water saturation. So estimating your porosity. The reason why we are not using this total porosity and water saturation and effective porosity and water saturation is that these particular ones actually need your well temperature data. If you have your well temperature data, then you can go about using any of these correlations here. But for now, we don't have a well temperature data for this field. So we'll come down to this porosity here. And we're going to estimate our porosity using a neutron density log. Maybe you can check out density log alone and so. But using a neutron density log here, they're already here. So I just click on create. Once I click on create, this is covering it. This is my neutron density. I'll come here, save and display. Zonation is, I believe my zonation is there already. I'll just click on play. Now you see my total porosity from my neutron density. That of the clamp will be deleted. Now, the next now estimate is my effective porosity. So I'll come to porosity again. I'll come to my effective porosity, still using my neutron density log. Neutron density log. Now this requires my shell volume. So I'm going to start at my volume of shell using my neutron density, and I will push it in, and I'll click create. So I'm having this. I'll see confirm if my zonation is there. I'll come and click save and display. Okay, it have that. This is my porosity. So I've done that. I'm going to show the values. Let's just use the estimation. Next, I'll go to my saturation. And these are different correlations used in carrying out your saturation estimation. You have your RT, you have your total porosity. You can get that from your dual water model, your Wassman-Smith model, equivalent saturation model. To get your effective porosity saturation, you can use any of these correlation at this point. So that is just it. Now we are going to estimate our saturation using our Archie water saturation. Now this will bring us to our formation resistivity and our porosity. So we're going to start for formation resistivity, which is our ILD. Resistivity. Okay, the formation resistivity. And the porosity we'll be using is 5E. That is effective porosity. Once we've done that, we create. It's all showing here. And we come here, we click on save and display. Now, it has given us a water saturation for Archie and our bulk volume water for Archie. We delete the unclamped model. So far, now you can also estimate for your permeability by clicking on your permeability. You have two correlations here in estimating permeability. We have the Wiley-Rose equation and we have the Coates equation. We'll be using the Wiley-Rose equation to estimate for our permeability. Now we click on create. We still go, I think that the process is just following the same workflow. Now this is our permeability using Wiley-Rose equation. So that is just it. Now, if you want to see all your displayed logs. Now you have them here. Okay. Now, what you are actually seeing are those logs we've estimated our water volume of shale, like this for our volume of shale, this for our total porosity, this for our this column is for our effective porosity, this also for our effective porosity, and this for our saturation. Now, what you are seeing here is that instead of us estimating for the total depth, as seen as one of interest, it's as one of interest that will have the estimation carried out. This as one of interest, same thing with zone 2 of interest, and same with zone 3 of interest. Why the other zones or the other log depths we are not estimated, we are all left out in this estimation. So that's one thing zonation actually helps us in doing when it comes to petrophysical or other analytical works in TECHLOG. So that is just it. Now you can actually decide to view the result of all you've estimated. You can do that in your summaries. If you come to summaries, I think I want my shale volume, I want my porosity, I want my water saturation. So you can select your XW archive and you can click on create. So I think it's all there. I'm coming. Let me bring it out. Okay. So if all you just need to do is isolation, all you just need to do is to save and display, click, and here you can come to result in TVD. So here you're going to see the different zones. This is zone 1, zone 1, zone 1, zone 3, and your zone 5. In zone 1, you have your reservoir rock, you have your reservoir sand, and you have your clay. So for your rock, this is the top. For your reservoir, this is the top. And for your clay, this is the top. Same thing for the bottom. Now, for you to get your gross thickness is the top, is the bottom minus the top. We give you the gross thickness. You get your net from it. From there, that is the net. From there, you can estimate your NTG. That is your net to gross. These are net to gross. This is the value of our net to gross. Now, these are bulk volume of water. We have our shale volume. We have our average porosity, and we have our average water saturation. So all these are what we've just estimated using our TECHLOG software. So I believe this was well understood, and I would like to take in questions at this moment because we just have 6 minutes to the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this informative and insightful session. Actually, I didn't get any question, but we can give them more time. If anyone has a question, please drop it in the chat box down below.
If there's no question, I would like to get your reaction. If it was well understood or well followed, so that I will know how to react to it. Thank you.
So there is no question, sir. If you can just give them more insightful, informative, or some knowledge, go ahead. There
If
is
I can,
just some reactions.
some okay, that's just it. Now I believe that before our next class, your assessment will be sent across, and it will be such that you are going to have a theoretical question, and I don't know how many of us have the software, so that I can request that you run your own program up to this point where I have it. I've gotten it done, and send for me your profile so I can get it opened in my own TECHLOG to see what you've done. Then I'll now grade you.
So
Okay.
we have just one question from one of the participants. He's asking about how to make the cutoff gamma ray to determine the clean sand and clay using the TECHLOG software.
Okay, how to make the cutoff? How to make the cutoff for our gamma ray to determine the clean sand clay using TECHLOG. Now, during our estimation of our show volume, that's where we actually apply our cutoff from our formula that I told us about, where we have our GRA index to be our gamma ray log minus our gamma ray maximum and our gamma ray minimum. Now I think I should bring up my, okay. Now this is my GRA log. Now what I'm having here, okay, let me see if I can bring up my gamma ray. Coming. Okay. Now applying cutoff to know your clean sand and your clean shell. You can do that when it comes to the summary. Yeah, it's the additional cutoff. Here you can actually tell what you want to use as your standard in estimating or using as your cutoff for your shell volume. But normally what I do to apply my cutoff, I normally carry out a histogram plot of my gel. With my histogram plot, I will determine which bar gives the maximum as it regards to my clean section, and which one gives the maximum as it regards to my clean section in shell also. Now, if you want to try that, you can come to your plot. You can come to your plot. In your plot, you're going to see histogram plot. Now, this is your histogram plot. All you just need to do is select GRO and place it here. Now, are you seeing this? Now, from my 0 to 150, my benchmark should be 75, which is at this point. That means from this point downwards is my shield, and from this point also down is my sandstone. So I pick the maximum, the highest bar in my shield section, and the highest bar in my sandstone section. Anything that is below this bar should be taken out of my sandstone. So what I'm going to do is to take in this bar, which is this. If you should count it, this is 20. This will be 22, 24, 26, 28. So it will be my 28. That is to say, my GRO maximum, sorry, my GRO minimum will be 28 API, and my GRO maximum will be 82, 84, and 86 API, as compared to what we were having in that GRO where we have 110. So this is where you can actually apply your cutoff to tell which is your clean sand and your clean shield. Thank you. Any other question?
Thank you, sir. There is no other question. So I think that's it for today's session. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time.
Thank you.
And for the others to highlight, so the today's session has been recorded and it will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe and stay connected. See you next week. Bye.